Perfect. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Becky Ewald, Economic Development Officer with the County of Simcoe. Just a couple housekeeping details before we get started. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted to our YouTube channel and website. If you have any questions that were not submitted in advance, please feel free to add them to the chat box throughout the presentation, and we'll go through as many as we can at the end. The Ask an Ag-xpert series is a specialized industry-focused adaptation of the Ask an Expert program. The webinars are designed to support and educate the agriculture, agri-food, and agritourism sectors. This session from Market to Meal focuses on farmers market tips. I'm pleased to welcome Catherine Clark as our expert today. Catherine has been involved with Farmers Markets Ontario since 1992. She was appointed in 2017 by the Board of Directors as their Executive Director, representing 180 member farmers markets. She is responsible to deliver and implement several programs, such as a robust group insurance program for members, operating and managing 2 My Market verified farmers markets in the GTA, and carries out the delivery of provincial programs and funding opportunities. She holds various leadership and board positions within the Ontario Fruit and Vegetable Convention, Horticultural Crops Ontario, and the Canadian Farmers Markets Association. Catherine, thank you for being here today, and I'll pass things over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Becky, for inviting me today. The program today, or the, thanks for welcoming Farmers Markets Ontario, and we're very proud of our association and what we do for farmers markets and vendors. My talk will be a little bit about FMO but we'll be focusing on vendors. I would assume that there are seasoned vendors and new vendors that are interested in selling at farmers markets, and they were a takeaway for the vendor to improve the way that they sell and present themselves at markets. So I have a presentation here, so I'm going to share presentation. Oops, I think I'm going to hang on here. I want to, oops, hang on here. Sorry, this is all new at this end.
That's all right.
Okay, so I just want to turn myself off so you're not looking at me all the time. I think what I'm going to do is stop sharing. Okay. Okay. So stop sharing and can you see that? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Start from the beginning. Okay, as I said, a little bit of information that is going to focus a bit on Farmers Markets Ontario, and certainly the majority of the presentation will be for vendors. Farmers Markets Ontario was established in 1992. We're a nonprofit organization representing 180 farmers markets, covering over 6,000 vendors across Ontario. We are the only recognized provincial voice and is dedicated to support the market's efforts. FMO's economic impact study shows that our economic impact is $2.5 billion annually, which means that the money spent directly at markets will be spent with other businesses, directly rippling through the economy. A breakdown of our membership: we have 20% municipalities who operate markets, such as Niagara Falls, Orillia, Cochrane, Northern Ontario, and Kenora. 60% are operated by organized groups, such as BIA, Chamber of Commerce, service clubs. 20% operates by Vendors Association, and not all are incorporated. So are you seeing the presentation itself?
No, we're not, Catherine. We just see the PowerPoint presentation.
The actual presentation. Okay, so hang on here. So
If you click the little button at the bottom, I think the presenter button, it might.
Okay, I think I'm going to stop this here, stop sharing, and then go back into share.
Technology is great until it's
Oh,
not.
tell me about it. How's that? Better?
That's better. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Too many steps to remember. And every platform is different.
It
Darn it.
is, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so the next, okay, the next, how do I move this back? Move my presentation. Holy boo. Okay.
Oh, Catherine, I think you're muted.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. As Becky mentioned in the bio, that Farmers Markets Ontario has an impressive liability insurance covering 140 farmers market locations, and that covers all the vendors, board members, market managers, and volunteers who are operating that market or are physically at the market. It covers slips and falls and the shopper from injury, and any canopies that might be struck by striking a vehicle would be covered, sort of thing. The individual vendor insurance is for the individual vendor, which is very popular because if a market's insured with Farmers Markets Ontario, that vendor goes to other markets that require insurance. So it's a way to get a personal certificate for wherever else they want to go to. And then our favorite ones for training is the market manager certification and the vendor certification, which are webinars, and they are specifically common sense approach to selling at vendor selling at a farmer's market, such as product presentation and how to behave at a farmer's market and what they should have, which I'm going to get into later, and market managers how to oversee a market from financial to strategies to funding sources and so on, and everyday operation of a farmer's market. So we have also municipalities, they're actually contacting FMO to do both. When they hire staff for the summer, even the staff is taking the course so that they are aware of how a market should be, or they inform themselves further and try to make their markets as streamlined as possible. So very popular, and best practices is important, and common sense approach is important to running a successful farmers market. Next slide. All right. Okay, so just recently at our conference last week, the 25 Market of the Year Award went to Metcalfe Farmers Market. It's becoming a very popular process or gift to your community if you can win the Market of the Year Award. The process is quite simple. We just need to know, how transparent are you with your shoppers, the community engagement, what unique programs does your market offer, and provide support for your vendors. Do you connect with Foodland Ontario for free materials, and how is your market giving back to the community? So it's a well-rounded application, and it's growing every year where multiple markets are actually competing for that award. The prize on that is $1,000 and a beautiful sculpture that can be displayed, and Foodland Ontario kicks in special promotional materials for the market itself. Okay, I'm not going to do too much on this, but food safety is a priority at all farmers markets, and vendors are responsible. Food vendors are responsible for the food that come to the market. There are too many markets out there that will accept a food vendor but not the credentials or the required documentation from public health, making sure that they've gone through a process that allows them to sell at a farmer's market. There's two distinctions. One is an exempt farmer's market from the Food Premises Act, and then there's the non-exempt. And if your market is a 51% producer exempt from the act, then the regulations for prepared foods are a little less stringent, where if your market doesn't meet that 51%, you're equal to a restaurant or a bakery in terms of the regulations, in terms of the food. And public health makes that decision based on a list of vendors that are submitted by markets each year, and inspections are occurring throughout the summer. So and you'll find everything on our website. So the responsibility of the market managers and the responsibility for vendors, and also the responsibility of the health unit and the health inspector, are listed on their website. Okay. So here, we're starting with the presentation for the vendors. Most vendors try to do their best to create great displays and provide their best customer service. The following tips will be a refresher to seasoned vendors and helpful to new vendors starting up. Hopefully, by the end of this presentation, vendors will take something away and learn a few extra tips that they were not aware of. So, choosing a lightweight portable display with interchangeable parts so the vendor can quickly reconfigure it for different products. The season changes as time goes on. One of the things that you don't need is expensive items, a table crate, basket shelves, tablecloths, big signs, small signs, sign supports, and maybe a chalkboard or a dry erase marker board. As a vendor, you need an awning, big canopy, or umbrella, and even a pop-up canopy to keep yourself, the products, and consumers out of the sun as well as the rain. You need a chair and two, but not to be on your feet all day. You can sit, but it's a no-no to sit the whole time. A tablecloth that's not too busy and also clean is also helpful. You want to keep your stall as clean as possible. Keep your displays area shallow so products are within reach of the shopper. People like to touch things before they buy. It's human nature, and most people are pretty good about not bruising fruits and vegetables, but you don't really want to try to keep them away from their reach. They will simply walk away and you'll lose a sale. Keep everything on display within arm's length. Keep your children and friends away from the front of your stall. They don't belong there, and they should be, the priority is your customers and your shoppers. The chit-chatting that occurs at the front of the stall distracts the potential sale at your stall. Ensure your stall has a smooth people flow by providing enough space for shoppers to browse comfortably without crowding. Post your prices as close to the products as possible and make them as clear as possible. By keeping clear and visible, use a chalkboard for items such as coolers, placed tags directly next to items on tables. Use simple fonts to ensure that they are easy to read, so consumers don't have to hunt for prices or walk away. 67% of consumers make a purchase because of a sign caught their eye. Wear a money apron or belt. Instead of using cash box, keep your money on your body in a wearable pouch or apron. This makes your cash harder to steal, saves you time by having appropriate change, and leave more room on the table for your displays. By displaying a mix of products at different price points, you'll attract a wider range of consumers. To offer lower price points without lowering your price, offer some items on per unit instead, or bunch or in a bag. But make sure that your signs are clear about what you're offering, what you're referring to. Why multi-level display works. Different heights help shoppers tell similar products apart. Shoppers can easily find and reach exactly what they want without knocking other items over. Looks fresher. Tiers create a mountain of food effect, which makes your product more plentiful and high quality. Also saves space. You can fit more products in a small space area while keeping everything organized and tidy. A mishmash of different color containers can distract from the look of your display. Try to keep it down to just a couple of colors that complement the colors of what you're selling and combine the look with your display. Some vendors offer neutral colors like white or gray to make their produce colors really pop. Others go with natural beige for barrels, baskets, and burlap. Many use green containers and backdrops, including green turf carpeting. Tilt baskets or product toward the shopper. Hang things on your wall if you have a wall, or from your canopy. Always replenish and rearrange your display. As a vendor, you have to be constantly looking at your stall and improving it all the time during the whole time that you're there. Limit your colors of container colors. Choose a color complementing your products. Make pale products stand out by using dark colors. Stay away from white backgrounds, too bland. Any other color will provide the contrast to grab their attention. Maximize the perceived and actual freshness of your produce by misting it or icing it. Keep a spray bottle close at hand and mist your produce frequently to keep it looking fresher and prevent wilting. It also shows that you're serious about freshness, and on a hot day, it will really add appeal to your booth. Cover up your baked goods and observe food safety rules. There's nothing less appetizing than a swarm of flies or bees buzzing around or landing on your fresh baked muffins and sticky buns. Always cover your baked goods and don't leave jars of preserves open for sampling. It's better to keep the lid in place or a clear dome or plastic film on the sampling, just keeping the bugs off. Always wear disposable gloves when preparing and handling food. If you're not familiar with food safety rules, your market manager or contact your public health for more information. However, hand sanitizers and portable wash stations, depending what your product is, your food item is, are required for all foods selling to the public, selling at the market. Tell people when things are being picked or baked. Freshness is the number one reason people stop at farmers markets and the number one reason supermarkets can't compete. Post your signs saying, picked this morning or baked fresh today. If your stall is at a corner of two aisles, place your display on an angle. This helps you catch the eye of the shoppers from both angles at once rather than one. If you've got way more to sell in August, try to double your space. A big packed display looks way more impressive and pays for itself quickly with the extra sales you'll pull in. Keep your products off the ground. You want to eliminate trips and falls. Offer recipes and sampling. Not everyone knows what to do with leeks or kohlrabi. Some may not even know how to deal with sweet potatoes. They're not going to buy anything they don't know how to prepare. Suggest handing out your best recipes. Some things, as an example, would be how to choose an unfamiliar cheese or melon unless you let them know what it tastes like. You have to inform them on what that is. On average, between 25 and 30% of people who try a sample will go on to purchase that item while at the market. How to promote your brand, your business, your farm, or even membership in an association. Don't be shy with your identity, whether it's a crisp logo on a sign, the label on a jar, or embroidery on a team member's apron. Your brand name should be the quiet reminder of a great experience. When a customer gets home and looks at what they've loved, purchase what they've loved, they want to know exactly where to return for more. Visibility isn't just about marketing. It's a roadmap to your shoppers to find their way back to you. Play up your credentials. Are you a NoFA member, a Christian farmer, a certified organic? Don't be shy to tell your customers you're a proud farmer. Draw their attention to it with your signs and be proud of your display. Why choose white canopies? There's always a question about that. Stay away from colored tents. They might look cool, but they cast weird colors on your food when the sun hits. Stick with white. It looks fresh, professional, and keeps your products looking exactly like they should. Use contrasting tones and colors to make foods look even more bright and appealing. Number one, greatest tip. Place your most colorful item at eye level to draw customers in from a distance. Mix colors and textures. A solid block of one color, like red berries and all green lettuce, can look boring. Use different colored baskets or mix light and dark greens to make your display pop. Create contrast. Use bright items like tomatoes or peppers to break up large sections of leafy greens. Let the food lead. Your produce should be the main attraction. Avoid tablecloths with busy patterns or colors that clash with your food. Make your signs and labels, tags, and packaging informative, not just functional. Use them to tell people about what you're looking at, what it's called, how to prepare it, how it's been grown. Example, organically, fewer chemicals, hydroponically. Questions consumers will ask: can it be frozen? Can it be canned? Is this apple good for baking or just for eating? This is a fact that signs, labels, tags, and packaging are silent salesmen. Have fun and humor. I'm sure we've dealt with that one grumpy vendor, right? Don't be that person. Humor sells. It makes you way more likable and makes your pitch stick with people's heads. Don't be shy about making shoppers smile as they walk by. It's best way to make sure that they actually will come back. Use signs to pre-sell shoppers on what you have for next week. Use signs to giving them a sneak peek is what's coming next. Whether it's pumpkins, fresh honey, or cranberries, it's building excitement and keeping them from buying those items that the grocery store because they'd rather wait for yours. Example, as next week's forecast, 100% chance of cranberries. See you next week. Keep your recipes ready. The big harvest begins next Saturday. Get creative and add some wow factor. Grab people's attention with something cool that tells your product story. Think outside the box. A beekeeper could show off beehives behind glass, or an organic coffee seller could let the kids try out the old-fashioned grinder. If you sell veggies, hang up some antique farm tools, or if you're a baker, bring the vintage butter churn. It gives them something to look at, and they'll definitely stop to chat. Education is really important. Arrange products in threes and fives. Did you know in the world of design, this is often called rule of odds? Here is a simple way to think about why it works at your market stall. They create a focus point. With an even number like 2 and 4, the eye often gets stuck in the gap in the middle. With 3 or 5, there's always one item in the center to act as the anchor. They look more natural. Even groups look balanced and force. Odd groupings feel more organic and abundant, which is exactly the vibe you want at a farmer's market. Keep your eyes moving. Your brain process can even numbers quickly because they are easy to pair up. Odd numbers challenge the brain slightly, forcing the consumer's eyes to linger longer on your display. Consider textures. The texture you choose should match the personality of your farm or products. Rustic and natural. Use burlap, wicker, and wood. These are perfect for a straight from the earth look and make consumers feel like they're buying directly from the field. The sophisticated and elegant look. Use lace, silk, glass, and potpourri. These work best for high-end items like specialty flowers, artisanal soaps, or expensive preservatives. The middle ground. Everything else falls somewhere in between. Quick tips. Most successful market stall sticks with the rustic category because it reinforces the fresh and local brand. However, mixing a little glass like clean jars or wood like crates create a professional yet approachable look. Quick tips for flowers. Selling flowers at a market is about the visual impact and perceived value. Here are some tips. The power of 3. Group identical bouquets. Place 3 of the same bouquet in a single bucket. This looks more professional and intentional than a random mix of different styles. Color block. Create color themes for each bucket. One bucket for cool blues and purples, others for warm red and yellows. Keep bouquets simple. For 20 stems, use no more than 12 different varieties. For 15 stems, aim for a maximum of 7 varieties. The reason why is that limited variety makes the bouquet look pleasant and high-end rather than cluttered. Oops. I guess lastly, why vary your display? Attraction helps. Changing your display prevents visual fatigue, where regular customers stop noticing your booth because it always looks the same. Highlight peak freshness. Emphasizing seasonal item creates a healthy sense of urgency, signaling to consumers that these products are at their peak and won't be available long. Enhance visual appeal. Use a high contrast arrangement, like placing bright oranges and yellows next to deep greens or earthy browns, make the products pop and lures shoppers in. A display that reflects the current season demonstrate that you are knowledgeable and also in tune with the local growing cycle. So that's basically the end of my presentation for vendors. I hope that's been helpful. Any questions? So I'm just going to get out of this here.
Thank you so much, Catherine. That was a great presentation. And I understand what you mean now about only being able to take away a couple things. And so I'm sure this recording will come in handy so people can go back and just continue to refresh themselves on what the tips were. Personally, I thought the tent tip was very fascinating. I never considered that the color of your tent would have that effect, but it does make sense. So I'll be watching for that this year while I'm at the farmers markets. And I also really liked your tip about sharing what you're going to have the following week. I know as someone who goes and shops at farmers markets, if I didn't see something at your booth the one week, that I probably just assume that it's not going to be there next week. So I thought that was a really great tip as well.
Yeah.
We do have time for questions. If anyone has any questions to ask, you can feel free to raise your hand or drop it in the chat box. Again, just a reminder that we are recording this webinar and it will be posted on the County of Simcoe's YouTube page and on our EDO website under Agricultural Resources. Lois.
Yes, quick question. Is there a cost to for those certification programs
Yes,
that were
there
at the
is.
beginning?
Yes, for the vendor, it's very minimal. It's 3 webinars, and well, they can go through the vendor program, and it's $25, and that is available to them. They get a certificate saying that they've gone through that. It's basically common sense approach to how to sell. So it's been very popular. It's also those who have purchased the individual insurance. It's available to them as well, on top of accessing the insurance portion through the duo insurance individual program. So it's $25. And I just finished sending an invoice to someone who wanted multiple vendors to take the course. So the initiative for market managers and to help vendors specifically, I think it's a good, it's not too long for them because I know they're all busy, is to take that course. Again, it's about tips and tools. It's been developed by Michelle Wolf, and nothing changes. I've been around for a long time, and everything keeps coming back. It's the same, 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 same. Nothing changes. It's just reinforcing reinforcing the value of promoting yourself. Be proud of yourself. If I'm an OFA member, just push yourself, especially if you're a farmer. Farmers markets are for farmers and producers of food, not the prepared and not the arts and crafts. Your mainstay to keep your market successful are your farmers and producers. And you focus on them and you promote them, you will find more people coming to your market and everyone else will benefit because of it. That's my experience that I've seen over all these years. And the failure of some of these markets is the fact that they don't focus on the farmers, or they don't do enough promoting of their farmers. So the market manager is a 12-step webinar, and it is, if you have 2 people from a market, it's $100. The 1 person from a market, it's $65, and it's open-ended. You can start at any time, you can finish at any time, and it will always be yours to log in to refresh your memory on those webinars, or hone in specifically on a particular segment. It's yours forever. There's no deadline. So it's becoming more popular, where a town of that just, they have 3 part-time staff coming in for X number of weeks, and she herself with the city is taking the course. So, informing, and she wants to take both the vendor side of things as well as as a market manager, so that she is aware of what a booth should look like, or recommend to vendors, what they should be doing. If certainly they're not going to be forced to take the course, but at least visible things that are common sense is like, if you're going to complain to me that you're not doing any sales, well, maybe you shouldn't sit in your chair and look like a grumpy vendor. That's common sense. And I know successful vendors that are going to 10 markets in a season, but 10 markets all season. And they're traveling into the city, and they're all over the place. And they have training for their students who are going out to sell. and they have inventory going in, coming out, and so on. The training comes from the farm itself for those who are larger, and they know what it means to be your stall to be clean. They know how to keep busy. If you're not busy, it's because you haven't, go change the display, keep yourself busy. Market time is what, 4 maybe hours, maybe 5 hours. Majority of markets are only limited once a week. You put your biggest effort into it, because the more you make from that market and the more customers are going to come to you. And it's not because of not necessarily just your product. It will be how you display your product, how you look, how you treat them. And, it should be all well-rounded.
Sorry, I didn't get the amount for 2 people for the market manager.
The market manager, so for 2 people, it's $100. So
Okay, thanks.
if 2 people coming from one market, if you're one market, it's $65.
Right.
So the second
Okay.
person gets a discount, yeah. And if it's
Perfect. Thank you.
multiple, yeah, and then if there are more, within 4 or 5 people who are interested, then I can provide them with a group and a rate, to help
Very good.
out. Yeah.
Excellent.
Perfect. Any other questions? You can also feel free to reach out to our office at edo@simcoe.ca if you do have questions. We'd be happy to connect you with Catherine or the local farmer markets across Simcoe County, depending on where you're located. But seeing as we don't have any other questions, I think we'll close it out so everyone can go to lunch. I just want to thank everyone who joined the webinar today or are watching the recording. I hope we were able to answer all your questions. This is the last of our Ask an Ag-xpert series for the season. Over the next several months, I'll be planning the workshops for next winter. So for those who are registered, you'll be receiving a survey. So please take a moment to fill that out, as your responses will help to create future workshops. You can also suggest topics on our website at edo.simcoe.ca/Ask an Ag-xpert. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.